What's going on, Falcons fans? Logan here. Welcome back to Rise Up Rundown. And if you're new here, welcome. So it is time to go over your mailbag questions. Again, this is part 2 of mailbag questions returning in 2023. And before we begin, I do want to say that, well, actually 2 things. One, as I record this, there were 9 mailbag questions in the mailbox for me. And if there was any new questions that possibly hasn't been answered in this video, I do apologize in advance. It's just that these are the only questions that I had at the time as I record this. And the second thing I wanted to say is that I am going to try and answer these questions a little more straightforward than I did last time, because in the last video I felt like I took forever to get to the point of what I was trying to say. So I'll try and be a little more straightforward this time. But I do thank each and every one of you for sending in your questions. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. The first one comes from Kale the Gamer 1426, and he asked, do you think Falcons have a chance at the NFC South while Tom Brady 12 retired? Well, I mean, you can't say that they don't have a chance, because, I mean, they had a chance to win it last year when Tom Brady was in. They were first in the NFC South for a week. And now that the Bucs, I mean, it's still very, very early. I mean, the Super Bowl wasn't that long ago. It's still early, but the Bucs, I mean, I don't know, maybe they're going to be in a really huge transition year now that Tom Brady retired, and, you know, do they even have enough cap space to keep a lot of their talent? I don't know. We'll see. And then the Saints, is Dennis Allen really the answer at head coach here? Now that Sean Payton, there's no way he's going to go to the Saints. I mean, he's with the Broncos, and the Saints need a quarterback. Panthers need a quarterback too, but goodness, man, the coaching hires that they made is quite impressive, not going to lie. And I don't know. The Panthers are the only threat, in my opinion, at the moment. So the Falcons, can they win it? Yeah, of course they can, but we have to just hope that this offseason is really remarkable, because I'm not worried on if the Falcons can overachieve in 2023. They're going to do that. But, how far can they overachieve? Can they do what they did in the last 2 years where it's whoa, they won more games than we thought, but nothing really too special? Or can they overachieve and actually make the playoffs is what I'm trying to get at. So possible, yes. Likely, I hate to say it, but not really. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. It's still very early. Terry Turner asked, what are your thoughts on Bengal safety Jesse Bates if he's traded to the Falcons, and also drafting a corner with the first round pick? In my opinion, it would make the secondary elite, top 10. Hashtag rise up. So I have underrated corner as a need for the Falcons. I think it is a bigger need than I thought it was. I do still believe in Casey Hayward. I do still think that we need to give him a chance because he's still under contract for at least one more year. But let's be real, keeping him for the season, fully healthy is just a huge, it's just a big if. If he stays healthy, he can be a great corner for us, but it's not really likely, right? Casey Hayward just can't really stay healthy, and he's getting up there in age, and he can still play, but, he's probably not the guy he once was. So, I hate to say it, but we probably do need to get a new corner pretty soon. And if the Falcons do get a corner in the first round, I would understand it. I would be way happier if we got a corner in the first round than we did a receiver. Basically, if I could just tell Terry Fontenot what I want the Falcons to do, I would just be listen, as long as you don't get offense in the first round, I'm good. Either get pass rush, that's what I would mostly get in the first round. But if you just can't get pass rush, then I guess go for a corner. That would actually make a lot of sense, alongside AJ Terrell. And then getting Jesse Bates, I guess this is kind of a spoiler alert, but for the eventual video that'll come out, I don't know when yet, but for free agents that the Falcons should consider picking up, Jesse Bates is very obviously going to be one of them. Because, like, why would you not get him? Like, he's one of the best safeties there is. He's a veteran to help coach up these young guys, and he's a player that can help impact the team right now if they want to make playoffs. He's just a great player. He even has Super Bowl experience for whatever that's worth. I just, like, why would you not get him? So I do agree that the Falcons should get Jesse Bates. And if they can't get a pass rusher in the first round, I'm okay with getting a corner, just as long as they don't get offense. Xsports9639 asks, I know in your last video you said you want to draft edge, but what if we got a good edge in free agency like Hargrave? What position would you want to draft? Okay, so I guess I technically already answered it. I wasn't expecting the next question to be about that, but I'll say that if it was not edge, it would be corner. Like, I'm underrating it. I know in my biggest needs video for 2023, I said the biggest need was pass rush, and then the second biggest need was wide receiver. The only reason I didn't put corner as one of the top 3 biggest needs is because I do still kind of believe in Casey Hayward. Honestly, like, I think he can still play, but relying on him to stay healthy is just, again, a big if. And I mean, he is getting up there in age. He probably isn't the same guy he once was. He was good versus the Rams, but versus the Saints, not so much. So, maybe I should have put, like, corner as a top 3, or actually, I think I had 4 big needs in that video I made. So maybe corner should have made the top 4 in biggest needs for us. I do still like Casey Hayward. I do, like, there's that inner part of me that just kind of, like, thinks he can be good for us. But I'm probably underrating corner, I'll admit. And so if it's not pass rush in the first round, I think we should go corner. Kingspur3535 asks, thoughts on Isaiah Oliver's season this year and if you think he'll be good next year. So Isaiah Oliver is just exactly who he is. Well, I don't want to say every year, because to be fair, he has improved. I give him so much trash, but I got to give credit where it's due. Like, he's been a lot better in coverage. And he's a physical corner. Like, he can definitely tackle and force some fumbles and, I don't know, just make some cool flashes. But that's the thing with Isaiah Oliver. Like, my biggest complaint with Isaiah Oliver is that that's kind of all he does. Like, he kind of just makes flashes, but he gets better, but he's just not at the level that we want him to be at. You are fine with Isaiah Oliver as nickel corner, but I mean, do you sit here and think, yeah, we're set at nickel corner? Probably not. Like, you probably would hope we can bring in at least a little bit of an upgrade. You probably have to keep him, though, because, I mean, yeah, he is getting better. Again, credit where it's due. Isaiah Oliver is getting better. I admit that. So I was part right, part wrong about Isaiah Oliver. Like, he is getting better, and I thought he wasn't going to get any better, but I still don't think that he's some great player. So how is he going to do next year? He's probably just going to be 1% better. I think he'll play well enough to where teams are, I mean, not a lot of teams, but there's going to be a couple teams here and there that maybe pick up the phone and try to, see if they can. Well, actually, I think Isaiah Oliver, I mean, I guess it depends on how much we sign him, but, like, the Falcons probably would sign Isaiah Oliver to, like, a 1-year deal this offseason, and then when he's a free agent, they're probably going to want to call Isaiah Oliver and see if he wants to play. Basically, what I'm saying is, like, I think he's going to get some teams' interest, and if the Falcons kept him for 2024, I'd be like, okay, but he's got to get to the level where we want him to be. Or else, like, can we just please find a replacement at corner? Like, he gets better, but he's just not great, is what I'm trying to say. But he's fine. Bent Jungle 369 asks, do you think the Falcons can win 10+ games next season? No. That is, well, I guess not a long, I guess it's not a long shot, but I don't know. I don't think it's likely. The Falcons, now, again, it's early. We haven't seen what they did in the offseason yet with 56 slash 70 million in cap. It's just, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure who's right on Twitter. Some people say 56 million, some people say 70 million. Either way, it is a lot of money. And we haven't seen what the Falcons did in free agency yet. This should hopefully be a big splash in free agency. I would hope that the Falcons can get at least 2 to 3 big names in free agency. I am that demanding, but I want to see it. Like, we can't just twiddle our fingers and hope for the best anymore, like we've been doing the last few off seasons. Like, we have to get a little aggressive here and get some names and coach up these young guys and whatnot, and then obviously draft well. But then you have a big question mark at quarterback. Like, is Desmond Ridder the guy? So there's a lot of question marks, and therefore with those question marks, maybe the Falcons can get 8, possibly 9 wins, but 10 wins, I think is just a little, I don't think it's likely, but, and then anything more than 10, no, like, there's no way, like, we're too young. But it is time to make playoffs, so if the Falcons can sneak into the playoffs or win the division with like 8 or 9 wins, you know, I'm okay with that. But if they get 10 wins, that's definitely best case scenario, like overachieving. But I don't know. I just don't think there's no way we're going to get more than that. Archangel 3180 asks, does the Falcons stick it out with Ridder and find out what we truly have in him? Or do we go for a free agent in Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy G, Lance, Justin Fields, or Lamar Jackson? Your thoughts? So I've been on board and on the train of wanting to stick with Desmond Ridder and see what he's got. I just, you know, we only saw him play for 4 or 5 games. He didn't play that well, sure, but I think you just stick it out. Like, I think you just kind of see what he's got for a full year, build a team around him, get some wide receivers, you know, obviously build a defense. And, you know, with Arthur Smith and his play calling and a great run game to give Desmond Ridder a little bit of a break here and there, hopefully, you know, Desmond Ridder can improve. So I say we stick it out with Desmond Ridder for at least this year. And if he doesn't show anything for 2023, then sure, go ahead and get a quarterback. Because, you know, he was a 3rd-round pick overall. Let's be honest, like, usually 3rd-round picks, again, I'm just being honest, usually they don't develop. Like, I mean, yeah, there's Dak Prescott and, you know, some other players, but I don't know. It's just something to think about. Like, he was a 3rd-round pick. The Falcons weren't super desperate to start him last year, so I don't know. Just see what he's got for 2023, and if he doesn't show anything for this year, then go find a quarterback. RC Plane Builder 2005 asks, will Kyle Pitts have a shot at becoming the AP 2023 Comeback Player of the Year? I feel like this was a question in the last Mailbag questions video, I think. But either way, I have an unfortunate answer. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was a question because I started it off very similar. But Kyle Pitts will not get any attention only because, for one thing, he's on the Falcons. Let's be honest, the league is never going to care about your team unless you're in the playoffs. And the Falcons have not been in the playoffs. So if the Falcons make playoffs, then maybe they could possibly look at Kyle Pitts. But the other problem is that Kyle Pitts isn't really being slept on. Like, everyone knows Kyle Pitts is good. I think everyone is looking at Kyle Pitts like, I mean, yeah, he'll probably bounce back. Like, I think that's everyone's expectations on Kyle Pitts. Now, who would be in front of Kyle Pitts to win Comeback Player of the Year? I don't really know. But, you know, that'd be awesome if Kyle Pitts did win Comeback Player of the Year. Unless, like, maybe Kyle Pitts gets a serious injury. Obviously, we don't want that to happen, of course. But if, like, Kyle Pitts had, like, a serious injury and then he somehow comes back, then maybe he would get attention. But if the Falcons need the Falcons to make the playoffs, or something serious needs to happen with Kyle Pitts in order to win that award. Archangel asks, your number 1 draft prospect. So, you know what's funny is, like, I know I want the Falcons to get an edge rusher, but I will admit that I kind of haven't really figured out who I would like them to get. There's a guy at Texas Tech. I'm forgetting his name, but I think it starts with a T. everyone seems to be kind of on board with him. And, you know, I'll take it. If everyone thinks that he's good, then I'll take their word for it, and I'll probably have to look at, you know, his film and whatnot, and ultimately probably make a video on why we should draft him probably eventually. But that's funny. Like, you know what? I don't really know my number one draft prospect, but I know that I want an edge rusher. So that, I guess actually that question was more of a heads up for me. Like, it's kind of like, all right, Logan, the Super Bowl's over. Like, come on, like, let's look at some draft prospects. So yeah, I probably should. I guess that was a heads up for me. Thank you for that. But I guess, you know, we'll have to see. But yeah, edge rusher would be number one, and I guess we'll see who the number one edge rusher would be for me. Archangel asks, will the Falcons make the playoffs this year? Will they finally get over the hump? That was the last mailbag question. It just depends. Like, I don't know. I think the Falcons have made some quiet good moves. I like the Ryan Nielsen hire more than I thought I would. You know, the Falcons know their weakness is in pass rush, so they're gonna try and, you know, fix that with a pass rush specialist. And I'm expecting with all that cap space they have, the Falcons have got to make some sort of moves in the offseason. They should. So I don't know. It just depends. The division looks like it'll be one of the weaker ones like it was last year. So I don't know. It depends. Overall, the percentage of like, do I think it's going to happen is sitting at, I'll say a 60%. Only because of how weak the division is. And I think the Falcons, I mean, you know, are they better than the Saints? Maybe. I mean, the Saints do have a good defense, but I think the Falcons maybe have the better offense. Are they better than the Bucs? Probably not. The Bucs, to be fair, do still have a little bit of talent on that roster, but we'll see if they have to like make a bit of a transition year. Are they better than the Panthers? I don't know. I mean, the Falcons do always beat the Panthers, but the Panthers have made some nice coaching hires. But none of these teams are just, you know, a landslide better than the Falcons. Every single one of them is like, you know, are you really sure they're going to win this division? Because last year was a weak division and no one really was the clear-cut winner for that division. So, I don't know. It just depends. But I would say we sit at a 60% chance of winning it at the moment. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Again, I thank you all for sending in some mailbag questions, and let's continue this. This is really fun. I really like answering you guys' mailbag questions, and I'm thankful that these have returned. And until this Tuesday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern, I will see you guys with a video. Stay safe and rise up.